You're listening to The Paul Higgins Show, where ambitious tech consultants come to unlock their potential. After 18 years as a global leader, I launched several businesses, culminating in a successful exit. I'm sharing what I learned, plus what's working now from mentoring tech consultants. You will hear leaders within our industry to help you build a business you love that allows you to do what you want. If you are looking for immediate cash flow wins to fuel your growth, go to our free ebook at paulhigginsmentoring.com/roadmap. Your deal size is anywhere between 50 and 100,000, in some cases more than that, and you're tired of getting ghosted on LinkedIn and also ghosted on email. Hello, I'm Paul Higgins, and welcome to my show, episode number 561. In this episode, I talked to Wouter Dieleman from wouterdieleman.com about account-based marketing. Never had anyone on the show about this, and Wouter gives all to you. Wouter is a HubSpot ABM consultant, and he has worked with HubSpot for 10 years. He took a silver partner to elite within the Benelux, and he sort of led the inbound marketing team, and he had a great 5 years there. And he's also a HubSpot certified trainer. He's done over 100 HubSpot projects for B2B SaaS, IT, and professional service. He loves crypto, poker, and anything strategic, and he certainly brings his A game here. So if you'd like to see Wouter on video, and there's a bit of a catch here because you can see Wouter with two cameras, but go to Paul Higgins Mentoring. You can go to the YouTube channel there. So now over to Wouter Dieleman from wouterdieleman.com. Great to have you here, Wouter.
Great to be here. Looking forward to do this and talk ABM today.
To be honest, I nearly had to look it up. It's been that long since I've done account-based marketing. It's something that we've never had topic, or it's a topic we've never covered on this show. So I'm very excited for you to unpack it. And it's also great that you've done it both for HubSpot agency, for other clients, and also some other consultants. So that's brilliant. But why don't we kick off with who is your ideal customers you love to solve for them?
My top two are definitely HubSpot agencies and B2B SaaS and IT companies. I spent 5 years working at a HubSpot partner, so I know that world inside out, and I know how to track business for those clients. And I also know what will happen when it is being transferred to operations, so that helps.
I know there's sort of more of, HubSpot's definitely evolving as a platform, but it's also evolved from, marketing to sales and customer service. The agencies you work with, are they across all three, across one in particular?
Yeah, the last 2 years, a big shift has been trending towards the CRM side. But I see a lot of collaborations with clients being opened up on the Sales Hub and CRM side.
Yeah.
It used to be all marketing because that's
Yes.
how HubSpot started out, as a marketing automation platform. But most of the initiations that I receive now are on the HubSpot sales side, also quite often being combined with LinkedIn. How do we sync between those two? Those kinds of questions.
Yeah, brilliant. Quick shout out to a tool that we recommend for LinkedIn and HubSpot. It's called Surfy, S-U-R-F-E. I don't know if you've ever used it, Wouter.
It is my go-to. It is, if clients work with me, it is one of the required parts of the tech stack. I actually know the Surf guys. I did a co-hosted a webinar with them on my LinkedIn Live. And David is a great guy.
David,
and also for all the
I was going to say, shout out to David, and that was not rehearsed either. That's spontaneity for you. We're even though you're not listening to us live, we're recording live. So that's great. And some of the problems that they have, what are the things that they call you in for?
You mean the HubSpot agencies by this, right?
Yeah.
Yes. So it's either A, help us get more of our dream clients and walk us through the ABM program so that we have more business coming out of it. And we also know the process so that we can either accelerate it for our own business or even sell it as a service to clients. And then we need to know how to execute on it. So teach us the process and help us get new clients in the process. That's the idea.
Yeah, great. So two bites of the cherry, as they say. They're both getting clients themselves and also getting their clients. So that's great. So that was A. Is there a B?
I guess that's A and B together. Sometimes the B is just train our team on how to do ABM so that we can execute better on it. We plenty of clients. We just need to be able to perform the service at a high quality, execute it at high quality. Yeah.
Great. And just before we go into what ABM is, because I'm sure you're listening to Wouter and Diane that and some examples for you, what's the best way for you to source your own leads, your own agency?
At least 80% is coming in through LinkedIn branding, LinkedIn demand gen.
Yeah.
So I share at least 3 videos, HubSpot how-to videos a week on Monday, Tuesday, and Thursday. So it's either they've seen the videos and just hit me up and say, look, we already know you're the guy. Just talk to us. How do you do your work? Or I'm getting referrals. But they've also seen, like, the videos is a touch point at all of my pipeline. Every opportunity has interacted with the videos. So that's the go-to.
Yeah, that's brilliant. Look, we'll have the link to Wouter's LinkedIn profile in the show notes. So if you're out walking or whatever you're doing, don't worry, don't have to get it down. We'll have it in there. And anything new that you're going to reveal with us that you're tinkering on at the moment?
I have to say, over the summer, I significantly upgraded my own LinkedIn and HubSpot process using Surf, but also how to sync personas, how to do account mapping. So if you're doing account research in Sales Navigator, how do you do your account mapping in HubSpot? How do you ensure two-way syncing between that data? I see a lot of stuff fall between the cracks in the account research, and also when you're doing your follow-ups on LinkedIn. A very updated process on that side that I'm posting a lot about, and we'll do a masterclass also on later this fall. So yeah.
Brilliant. And are you using any automation tools?
Yes, I'm using currently Expandy to
Yep.
automate my network expansion. And there are multiple tools out there, but I'm also Expandy partner. Great team, great product. And it really helps me get more relevant connections at target accounts without being spammy. And the great thing is, since I'm doing a lot of organic posting, it will now start to show up in their feed. So I don't have to do any ads. I don't have to do any outreach. I just get them in my network and they will see my content over time. They will start reaching out. So that's the playbook.
Yeah, brilliant. I'm just having a quick look here, which I'm probably not doing fast enough, but Stefan, the founder of Expandy, was on here, and I think he was episode 373. But we'll have the link
Okay.
to Stefan and Expandy in the show notes as well. We're on a roll here. 2 of our favorite partners and sponsors you're using, so which is not uncommon when we're all in a similar circle. Let's now get to ABN, right?
Yeah.
ABM. M for Mars, what's your layman's definition of account-based marketing?
The M in account-based marketing is very tricky because it is a marketing and sales coordinated effort. It's just we settled on it sometime like 6 years ago, and people tried other things like ABX, account-based experience, account-based selling. It never sticks. It's just, ABM is what it is, but it is so much marketing and sales. Actually, sales is super important, especially in the beginning in the strategy, because they talk to clients, they know what moves them, they give a lot of the input, and they have to do the selling. So ABM is a very confusing name.
Yeah, well, why don't you unpack that by giving us some examples? Some examples that you've done for HubSpot partners would be, a great place to bring it to us.
One of the big benefits of ABM is you will create a very narrow selection of ideal clients. The first step is to define what does my ideal client look like, and you do that through an ideal client profile, ICP.
Yeah.
And defining that ICP, especially looking at the tier 1. So what is your absolute dream client? The type of client that you can do business with, not just for a year, but for the next 5 years. And
Yes.
that will bring in consistent revenue. That will be a great case study that your team loves working with. That is your tier 1 ICP. And that is what we are always after in the first ABM strategy.
And is there a dollar value attached to that? Like my tier 1 might be different to your tier 1. Like, if you've got an average deal size that, typically works well with ABM.
So the bare minimum you want to have is at least $50,000. It will be very hard to make the investment justifiable in ABM and also get the ROI right. The ideal mark is 100K.
Yes.
But from 50 onward, you can definitely consider it, and you will need to do a budget calculation.
Yeah, and I think follow across my client base, it's more probably for Salesforce, HubSpot, NetSuite, ServiceNow partners, and then it may be for if you're a Zoho partner or a Monday partner or something like that, where the deal size is a lot smaller. It sort of gives it a bit of context. And just quickly on the ICP, the ideal client profile, heard on a podcast the other day about interviewing myself around my ICP. So I use Monica.im, I think it is. I don't. You ever use Monica?
No, I have not. So that's
So
always
think of
good to learn.
Monica. Monica's an aggregate. So it's got ChatGPT, it's got Claude 3.5, and it's got a couple others. You can pay, $20 for one and get multiple rather than paying $20 for each. Anyway, fantastic tool. And this guy said, look, you put it in a Monica and you basically do your current ICP, and then you ask it to interview you to improve it. The racy, what's your role, etc. But I've just never thought of it interviewing me to improve my ICP, and the results came out really well. So have you ever done that through whatever form of AI?
To be honest, the first homework that my clients get is talk to 3 of your clients and put me in a call, because I want to hear directly coming out of their mouths, because they bought from you. They put
Yes.
down 100K on the table. So who are these people? And then we use AI to extrapolate on their answers and build a cohort. I still use the good old classic source of the client themselves.
Yeah, I think that's a really good point. I suppose for me, I've been working as a tech consultant. I was a tech consultant for
Sure.
7 years, and now I've mentored for 3. So it was like fine tuning it. But I think that's a brilliant point. And I think that's, something that, we lose touch with is, I heard someone today talking about content. They're saying, like, if you don't truly understand your ideal client, it's no use wasting your time and effort on content. And impressions really mean nothing. It's content that is engaging for that specific ICP. So that's brilliant. So we've got sales and marketing. You're focusing tier 1 deal sizes about 50 to 100,000. You've got the ICP, right? Take us through this. I know you've got a campaign blueprint, but maybe take us through a campaign blueprint, what it may look like, an ABM versus whatever other outreach strategy we're using at the moment.
Yeah, definitely. After you found your ICPs, usually we go for a combination of tier 1 and tier 2. So then you will need to build account lists in Sales Navigator and HubSpot. You can do that using Surf. So as soon as you have those account lists ready, then you will need to come up with your campaign plan. So what is the common denominator? What is their biggest pain? And basically you organize an event around that. Usually virtual, can definitely be physical, like dinner roundtable, a roundtable on site. The key takeaway is, what is the common denominator? So I know for my target audience, building a HubSpot campaign is always the biggest pain. Target account lists. How do we build this campaign? What are all the moving parts? In what order do I execute them?
So tell us about that campaign blueprint.
Yeah. So the first step is to, based on that ICP that we discussed, create the target account lists, segment it into tier 1 and tier 2. So that will be a combination. Then you will find a common denominator on the challenge side for those tier 1s and tier 2s, distilled from your interviews, client interviews, the customer insights. So you will list your top 3 challenges, and then you will come up with a content piece to answer the questions. And that's usually some sort of an event, usually a virtual event like a roundtable webinar. Could also be physical. But what you will do is you will basically say, in this event, we will teach you how to A, set up target account lists, B, build out the full campaign blueprint, and C, do your sales follow-up. Because that's, for my target audience, that will always be the questions.
Yeah, and I know that there's been a lot of debate around webinars. You do the why and the how and not the what, but it sounds like there you're actually getting into the nuts and bolts of the solution. Have I read that right, or you're still staying at the why and the how?
My target audience doesn't show up for the why usually.
Yeah.
They show up for the how and the what. Whenever I start putting things on the screen, visualizing it with flowcharts, blueprints, laying out the steps, that is when people will literally start to move forward and see what is happening there and start taking notes and requesting those materials.
Yeah, and I think that's where it's critical to match that to the ICP. If your ICP doesn't learn that way or doesn't, well, then you adjust it. But that's where the research leads to the format, not the other way around, which typically we like to do the format we like the most. And is there any call to action, any ask on that session, or is it just purely the how, the what, and no CTA?
What we do is we offer free 30-minute consulting sessions. There's usually like a QR at the end. Yeah, we definitely also tie it to sometimes to a bigger event. I know that I'm going to be hosting a masterclass later this fall, virtual, and I'm going to do a physical event in the spring to get people together to collaborate on these topics, to exchange thoughts. So that's usually the CTA to an even bigger event. But the first step, I would always recommend try it out virtually. If you get people to engage with the subject, with the topic, then you can expand into bigger events. So this is your piloting.
Yeah, great. And he's done incredibly well, but I've never been a huge fan of Russell Bronson and his model and his webinar template that everyone sort of rolled out. I think I haven't seen it for a while, so I'm hoping it's collecting some dust. But it had countdowns and it had bonuses that 25,000 made up bonuses, etc. For your experience with ABM, you said they want the how and the what. How real is webinars, the workshops that you're running?
I mean, so yeah, you have educational webinars and you selling webinars. I hardly ever do selling webinars. What I want, and I see this as a very good motion in B2B, is just keep sharing until you're just top of mind whenever it comes to that topic, and they will knock on your door. All of my pipeline is coming in from my LinkedIn videos and my webinars simply because they think that I'm most knowledgeable on the topic. And I've tried squeezing in some CTAs and some selling at the end just to test it. It doesn't convert.
Agree. It's as an old football coach said to me, treat as a coach, you should always remember that you're once a player. I think it's the exact same thing. If you don't like something, therefore, it probably means your audience doesn't as well. And I know that when we did a bit of prep for this, you talked about, the old snail mail, like actually physically putting things in the mail, and that's working incredibly well. Can you tell us a little bit more about that?
Yeah, absolutely. The good old direct mail, and it used to be a go-to before we went digital. And now, because people receive everything digitally, you can really stand out by doing something physically. What a very good playbook is, for instance, handpick a book for someone. Now, we have the revenue architecture by Jaco van der Kooi, Winning by Design. And for head of marketing, CCOs, that is almost like required reading material. So that is what I use to send out to them. And you can do the branded book cover. This is what I learned at Webs. The founder used to do that. Take the book, create your own book cover, write a personal intro for that person in the book cover, and have like a CTA to either come to a live knowledge session, come to that masterclass, or just drop by, want to have a roundtable dinner. Those kind of CTAs you can put in there.
Right. That's a physical printed cover that goes over the actual book itself.
Absolutely. And you put
Yeah.
that in a physical package.
Yeah.
You might even want to include a handwritten note so that they really see, okay, this is about me. This is You can also use a tool called Writify.co for that. It actually generates handwritten messages based on parameters that you put in. But for the tier ones, I would really recommend handwriting it yourself. Make it look a bit clumsy even, so that they 100% see that it is legit.
Yes.
And then if you have a good case study, definitely include that in the parcel as well. Make sure it's high quality, like glossy style.
Yes.
And make sure that the signature is required so that you know that they have actually received it.
Gotcha. And I know that, for me, I'm in Australia. I work mainly in North America. What about the handling of this? Like, to me, for a lot of my clients, they work where they live and where they work is different. So I suppose, how do you get around that?
If someone is fully remote, it will be very tricky. There are ways to extract, like you can ask the office manager for addresses. I wouldn't easily go down that route unless you really, really know them. I've had a client that I've known for 2 years. If I call their office manager or his personal assistant and ask for his address, that's fine, because we have such a personal relationship. But if you don't really know the people, we in the beginning usually just send it to the office. If we know that they are in there from time to time, or we just gamble,
Yes.
right? Sometimes we put in the message, if this person is never actually in the office, feel free to give it to one of their team members.
Right. So that's, one tactic that's worked really well. What are some other tactics that you've worked with HubSpot partners to get their clients?
I have quite a nice example from a HubSpot partner that builds HubSpot websites. What they did is they have designed physical modules that are a puzzle. So the client receives a box with like 6 or 7 modules, and the header and footer are branded, and they can then move around. And basically the message is, with our HubSpot template, you can move around the components very easily, like you can now, just in front of you. So they will put that on the lunch table and start building their own homepage. That's a super cool, very relevant to their offering.
Yeah, brilliant. We talked about the size of the deal, 50 to 100,000. What's the average investment to do an ABM program that may have both of those elements or one of those elements?
Yeah, so it depends if you work with external people. Yeah, so if people hire me with my program, then for the ABM Light program, that's 20K. For the bigger program, that's 36K. And then there's like 5K advertising budget. So yeah, so between 25 and 50 that is going out of pocket. And then obviously you have your own in-house resources that will also do things. So if you do a very neat calculation, you will start with the marketing and sales expenses. That's on the people side. So you have your internal people calculate what they will spend on the campaign, then your external people. So that combines into the marketing and sales expenses. Then you will also have other out-of-pocket costs like campaign budget, for instance, LinkedIn advertising, cost for the materials. That is the true cost of your ABM campaign. And you put that, then you take your margin, and that will give you the output number of how many deals do I need to close in order to get a positive ROI. If you do it, stay true to your own business, that's how you calculate. And that's also how I do the calculations with my clients in order to get a number that is actually makes sense, because you want this to be a go-to-market motion that is profitable for many years. You want to build predictable pipeline over this, where you will actually turn a net profit at the end. So,
and the question everyone asks, like, how long will it take? I'm sure you've never heard that question before. So when you get that question, how do you answer it?
First 6 months, you will see some results. First 3 months, you will hardly see any results. That's just strategizing, building. After 6 months, you will probably have a few deals in the pipe, but the big results come in after the first year. I always say 20% in the first 6 months, the rest of the 80% after 12 months. That is realistic.
And what's the characteristics of the owner or the CRO or whoever it is? Let's pick an owner of a HubSpot agency. What are the common characteristics you see for people to be that patient, right? Because a lot of people are probably listening to this and you go, Walter, I don't know if I'm going to be open next week, let alone 6 months time. So what are some of the characteristics you look for your ideal client?
Yeah, they need to have faith and commitment and patience that this will pay off. But it's not easy. You're involving a whole team. You're pulling out significant budget. You need to believe in this go-to-market motion, because that is what you're doing. You have a high annual contract value. That is a certain product. Every product has its own go-to-market motion that is most suitable. What is yours? You need to investigate. You need to do your research to build that conviction. So that's why the Revenue Architecture book is such a great book to read. And that's why I also send it and recommend it to everyone, because you will need to form your own hypothesis on what is the best GTM motion for your business model. And I can tell you that 9 out of 10 times, if your ACV is between the 50 and 100K, ABM is it. But they need to reach that conclusion themselves. If I tell them, it will never work.
Yes, yeah. And I think that's why, the education that you do, like you said, 3 videos a week, and that is helping them better understand. So they're coming to you because they know it's right for you, rather than you trying to convince someone, which I suppose is what the whole ABM motion is about. So, you're practicing what you preach. And look, I do think, even if you're a smaller partner listening to this, there might be just elements that Walter's talked about that you can take and test. I think very applicable if you're a larger partner doing large sizes, but I think there's also some common practical things you can do at a smaller stage. Just a reminder, it's episode 561, Walter, and we'll have all the links in the show notes. But what we're going to do is just pause for a moment, and we're going to take a quick break to thank our sponsors, not Surfy or not Expandy, someone else, and we'll get back to you soon. Running a tech consulting business can feel like a solo journey, but what if you didn't have to navigate it alone? Introducing the Tech Collective, your go-to resource for tackling those burning questions and unlocking your potential. Join a dynamic collective of experienced tech consultants ready to share insights, strategies, and support to help you today. Grappling with sales, clients, team challenges, our Tech Collective has your back. Join us today at paulhigginsmentoring.com/TC. There's a link in the show notes. There's a small application, and as a thank you for being a listener, enter the coupon code TC, capital TC25 at checkout. That's TC25 to get 25% off. Visit paulhigginsmentoring.com/TC today. So, Walter, we're going to do the rapid fire now. Are you ready for me to ask you 4 questions and you give 4 rapid responses?
Absolutely.
All right, brilliant. So the first one is, what are some of the daily habits you do other than just account-based marketing to help grow your agency?
Post daily, comment daily. LinkedIn, always out there. Third one, messages. You want to be interacting through all of these different channels on the same channel.
And are you using any tools quickly to do the commenting and the messaging, or are you just doing it all native?
LinkedIn Sales Navigator is a great starting point for commenting. If you want to expand it, you can use Breakcold, which is a better UI, and you can automate stuff.
Yeah, we've certainly tried Breakcold. The most important thing is your members or your ideal client need to be active on LinkedIn. Otherwise, it doesn't work as well. But if you have got a lot, I think it's great how it has all of your feeds in the one. But I'm going to stop talking because this is a rapid fire, and we'll get back to it. So the second thing is, how do you find about new strategies to help drive the growth of your agency?
Trying new things daily. But I have to say, inbound has been the same for 10 years. Educate. Start with them. What is their problem? What's keeping them up at night? And help them solve the problems. Just teach, and they will come to you. It's been the same for 10 years.
Yeah, great. And it still works. If I could grant you one wish, what would that be?
I want to help me with the operations. Yeah,
Well,
but I'm getting good people to really join my cause now, and it really that's so cool. They see me teach, and now they also want to teach, and they want to
Yes.
help me teach.
Yeah. Well, it works both ways, right? You're trying to attract
Yeah.
clients, but you're also trying to attract great talent. The last question is, you've been in the HubSpot ecosystem for over 10 years now. That's a long time on a fantastic evolving platform. What are the things you know now that you wish you had known earlier?
Start with sales before you head into complex marketing campaigns, and post on LinkedIn. I should have done this way earlier. Just get over the hurdle. People are very tense about it. It's like people on LinkedIn are cool. If you teach, they like you. So don't be afraid of hate comments. It hardly ever happens. That would be my advice to me.
Yeah, brilliant advice. Great advice to finish on. We'll have the link. So WouterDieleman.com, and that will go to a meeting link. So you can talk to Wouter firsthand. And as you can tell, he is very much about give value first before he asks in return. And as part of that, I really wanted to thank you for coming on the show today.
Thank you for having me, Paul. A great format you have here. And I love the questions, the rapid fire. It's a great setting. Very enjoyable.
Brilliant. Thank you, Wouter.
Likewise.
That was a great interview with Wouter. We had to just fiddle things around a little because his camera did play up, his new camera. But it was a great interview. I really loved the fact that he talked about getting real clarity on the ICP, and we talked about ways to do that first in person, but then with AI. He talked about interviews and how important it is, and I could not agree more. You've got to talk to your ideal clients and find those pain points out. There's no shortcut. And the third thing is, direct marketing, which I must admit I've got to do more of and haven't really done it. So reach out to Wouter on LinkedIn and thank him and ask him questions there. You can tell he's very much about education. Look at those 3 videos that he drops every week on his profile. If you got peers that you think will get value from it, please share it with them. And also you can watch Wouter and I once again on the YouTube channel, Paul Higgins Mentoring. If you love that, please subscribe. And I'll see you next time on the Paul Higgins Show. Time for action. Let me know what you implemented from the show. I promise to respond. Plus, get the Tech Consultants Roadmap at paulhigginsmentoring.com/roadmap.